Welcome everyone for our first webinar for this AI in Education series. On behalf of Chicago State University, our Center of Information Security Education Research, we call CINSER, and National Science Foundation, which is supporting this project, which is under the umbrella of Expand AI, where the purpose is to expand AI capacity at Chicago State University. On behalf of the university and the rest of the team, and I'm really thankful to Florence from Columbia University, Emily from Columbia University, and Forough from New Jersey Edge for accepting to be the first presenters on this webinar series. They will share their experiences about AI in education across disciplines. And also, I'm thankful for the attendees who are here to listen to everybody who's about to say about in this area. Our webinar will be, the presenters will talk for 50 minutes, then we'll stop for Q&A, and we're trying to finish everything in 1 hour. Again, Florence, thank you so much for everything, and the floor is yours. Welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Musa. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent, great. And I have to apologize, I'm on my phone. I'm traveling, I'm speaking at an event in San Diego, and I can't really get into my stuff that great in this hotel. So thank God everybody else has it going on. So Musa and I have been friends for a number of years, which is really wonderful. And we work on a number of projects together. And today what we're going to be doing is talking about AI education across disciplines. And so I am Executive Director of the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub at Columbia University in the city of New York. Emily Rothenberg, who's going to be sharing the slides for us, thank you, Emily, is our program manager for the National Student Data Corps, which is an open online data science and AI, artificial intelligence education platform. And we hired Emily when it started growing so much we didn't know what to do, and we had 1,000 people, and now we have 20,000. So she's done an incredible job over the last few years. And then Forough Ghahramani is Vice President for Research and Innovation at New Jersey Edge, which is a research and education network and community. And she's also on the steering committee for our Big Data Hub and was a founding member of the National Student Data Corps, which is so exciting. So we're excited about talking about AI education across disciplines. This is all open content that you can all leverage, and so we hope that you do. Next slide, please. So first, for a little background, we thought we'd tell you a little bit about the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub. In 2015, NSF, actually the National Science Foundation, funded 4 big data innovation hubs, regional hubs. There was one in the Midwest, one in the Northeast, one in the South, and one in the West. We got additional funding in 2019, and then some of the hubs have decided to kind of close their doors and move on to their next projects. The West did that. The Midwest, I think, is in the process of that. They're at UIUC and have other collaborators. The Northeast and the South are still going. And so our job is to be a community convener, a collaboration hub, and a catalyst for data science awareness, education, and innovation. We're very grateful and fortunate for the funding we've received, which is on the left from the National Science Foundation, the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration, the National Institutes of Health, and recently DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. The hub community includes, it was over 24,000 individuals, but drum roll, we're about to announce our new numbers, and it's going to be over 27,000 individuals. And that includes people in academia, students, educators, researchers, people in industry, nonprofits, and government institutions. And we have 4 main focus areas. One is education and data literacy, where the National Student Data Corps resides, where a lot of our content is we're going to talk about today. Another is the health area, and we run the COVID Information Commons for the government. We'll talk a little bit about that too, because these are all open resources you could use. And actually, we leverage a machine learning clustering tool in the KIC. We call it the COVID Info Commons, the KIC. We also have a transportation data science project that Emily led the development of. She'll talk about that. And then responsible data science, including security, privacy, and ethics, is very important to us, and we'll touch on that as well. So on the next slide, we give you a little overview of the National Student Data Corps, which actually was born as the Northeast Student Data Corps, and it quickly went viral, so we changed it to national. We founded it at the end of 2020. We launched our first event at the beginning of 2021, and the rest is history. So, as I mentioned, we hired Emily to help us, and she's done an amazing job with this. And so now I'd like to hand it over to Emily to take us through the data science education content and AI education content that you can all take advantage of. Emily?
Sure. Thank you so much, Florence. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. I'd be happy to share a little bit more about the National Student Data Corps, which we call the NSDC. So the NSDC is a community developed initiative. It was created to foster a very supportive data science community for learners. And since the inception of it, as Florence mentioned, it has grown tremendously, and it now enables data science literacy across all states in the United States and beyond. The NSDC does welcome individuals of all ages, all skill levels, and all backgrounds and education levels as well to become a part of this supportive community. And we also ensure that all of our provided resources, events, and programs are virtual so that everyone can access the materials and participate in our projects and events. So to go into some of those resources for you, the NSDC provides thousands of resources through our website that are free, open, online, and available to all. Here you can see our NSDC Learner Central on the left, the Educator Central, and the Video Library. So starting on the left, the Learner Central is designed for users to learn data science at their own pace. These resources can be used as supplemental education for learners at any point within their learning journey. We have topics that span unsupervised machine learning and supervised machine learning, computer programming, and more, but we also have beginner-friendly topics like pre-algebra and statistics that require no prerequisites at all. And of course, as Florence mentioned earlier, we always start our learning pathways with data science ethics to ensure the responsible use of data science, as that is one of our 4 focus areas. So overall, the Learner Central hosts educational modules that learners or educators may use as building blocks for data science curriculum or asynchronous learning. And speaking of educators, the Educator Central in the middle houses resources that help educators, whether they're building a new data science program, maybe they're running a lab and looking for data sets, or they're just interested in how they can incorporate data science topics into their classrooms. You can find programs, courses, and curriculum here from many different institutions, including Columbia University, Queensborough Community College, UC Berkeley, and more. Resources there support all ages from K through 12 up through graduate school, though most of our content here supports undergraduate and graduate level courses, as they are the largest part of our community. And on the right-hand side, we have the Video Library, which teaches data science topics from introductory to advanced in short 15-minute or less videos. These videos are easy to watch. We like to say that they are ingestible and digestible, and they cover a variety of lessons and use cases. So here you can learn the basics. What is data science? What are the different types of data? Of course, alongside more advanced topics like supervised and unsupervised machine learning and neural networks, and even use cases like how to detect lung cancer or even clean water sources using AI and machine learning. And if you're looking for shorter, even easier to watch videos, we have those too. This is our flashcard video series in which you can learn data science topics in just 3 minutes or less. Several flashcard collections can be found on our YouTube channel, including topics like the data science pipeline. This is actually one of our videos that's playing from our data science pipeline collection. This goes over data cleaning. We have videos that touch upon data visualizations, data storytelling, geospatial analysis, and much more. This series is a great way to review core concepts quickly in the STEM space. Students and professors have incorporated these short videos into their classwork or quick homework assignments, and they go up through advanced topics through like semantics and ontologies as well. So that's a bit about our flashcards. Another way to access over 1,300 learning resources is through the Data Science Resource Repository, or DSRR. The DSRR is hosted on Airtable, which makes it filterable and searchable. It hosts a variety of different learning opportunities as well. So whether you learn by watching, listening, reading, or practicing, the DSRR has you covered with videos and podcasts for engaging lessons. We have textbooks, articles, data science challenges, hackathons, and even comic books for an interesting take on AI, ML, and the broad concept of intelligence. So this series actually, which you can see at the bottom of the screen, was created by Julia Stoyanovich, a professor and researcher at NYU. And these comic books come in a variety of languages and make topics like artificial intelligence approachable for all ages. So this is just a really great opportunity for you to be able to search and find which resources are most useful to you and your specific journey. And we've also gone ahead and vetted all of these resources. So we want to make sure that you don't ever have to hit any paywalls or firewalls as you explore the resources in the DSRR. So just a ton of great free online content. And so as we've heard, we are, as I mentioned before, the NSDC is community developed, and we are always checking in with our community. We're listening, hearing what they need, and we're going to try to give them resources or programs that fit those needs. And as we've heard from many active learners, from students through professionals, most are looking for real-world hands-on experience with data. So we created the Data Science Projects program. The Data Science Projects program provides participants with a Google Colab notebook with a full walkthrough of a project inside. With over 20 projects hosted to date, the projects cover a wide range of disciplines like health, public policy, finance, business topics, transportation, and environmental topics as well. These projects are completely free and asynchronous, so you can work on them when it works for you. We offer resources and mentorship support along the way, and a certificate of completion at the end of each project that participants can add directly to their LinkedIn profiles or resumes. And again, they span a variety of disciplines. They also span in length, the amount of time it takes to complete a project. And they also span difficulty levels from beginner through advanced. So here is a quick glimpse at a beginner-friendly project track that we offer. Our Netflix data cleaning project only takes about an hour and offers a light introduction into Python programming. So that is always the project that I recommend to participants who maybe have never done Python before or have never used Google Colab before, right? It's a new environment. You want to get comfortable with it. And you get to use a real Netflix data set. Then moving on to our data and research methods project in the middle, that offers a fantastic overview of the entire research process, from finding credible resources to completing your own analysis and offering real-world public policy recommendations. That is based in Excel and teaches you a great deal of strong data science analysis concepts through Excel as well. And our transportation projects, which were funded by the US Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, offers participants the opportunity to practice data manipulation, data visualizations, data storytelling, all with real-world impacts. And it actually culminates into a poster presentation at the end, which we've shared with DOT in the past. But if you are looking for something a bit more challenging and more AI and ML friendly, then I'd recommend our radiography image classification, our Yahoo Finance stock data, and our medical chatbot using RAG and LLMs projects. All three of these projects leverage different aspects of machine learning, from model selection and evaluation to neural networks and large language models. The two projects on the right are our newest projects, actually, where you can get familiar with a real Yahoo Finance dataset, or you can build a medical chatbot from scratch using a Kaggle dataset and GPU access to train your large language model. And throughout all of these projects, participants will create real-world visualizations with guidance and support. These visualizations are taken from our transportation project, which I mentioned earlier. And you can see an example of the certificate at the bottom of the screen, which many students will share on LinkedIn, or they will add their projects directly to their digital portfolio, which will give them a bit of an edge when they are applying to a college or to an internship or to a job. So how are schools using these projects? We have a variety of schools, including high schools and also several higher ed institutions on the screen here that have incorporated these projects or elements of the projects directly into their curriculum. Some of the projects have actually been used in place of a capstone project in the past as well. And at the end of a project that we host with an institution, the participants also get a short survey to see if their confidence has changed throughout their experience with the project. So we'll give them a short survey ahead of time and then after their completion. And we've been seeing fantastic results. At this point, on average, we're seeing a 78% increase in overall confidence with data. So it's just great to see how the projects are actively helping participants learn, again, whether they're students, professors, or other professionals who complete these projects, maybe with the goal of expanding their skills, gaining professional experiences, or even retooling themselves for an upcoming semester. We also have the data science career and student panels. The NSDC hosts these virtual events to showcase the various domains that data science can be applied to. We've hosted panelists that leverage data science tools and techniques in scientific discovery, music, marketing. Our data and earth sciences career panel focused on conservation, water studies, and animal health, while our health-focused panel discussed public policy, public health, and healthcare communications. It's truly so interesting to hear these inspiring panelists discuss their experiences, their insights, and their advice. We often hear from viewers that they didn't know data or AI could be used in these specific fields or these specific ways, and that it broadened their scope. So it's just really great to get that feedback. And of course, you can watch all of our on-demand panels on the NEBDHub YouTube channel to inspire yourselves or to inspire your students or peers. The NSDC also hosts a masterclass series, which is a shorter form video series designed to highlight how data science is being leveraged across disciplines. So that includes here, we have precision oncology, generative AI, athletics, machine learning, when and when not to use it, and massive scale graph analytics. This series was created, again, we were hearing from our community because so many students were telling us that they were leaving higher ed, they were graduating, knowing that they wanted to pursue data science. They had their degree in data science, but as they were entering the job market, they didn't really know which fields data science, AI, and ML could really be applied to. So the masterclass episodes, again, are all on our YouTube channel or our video library page, so that they're able to get a glimpse of the day in a life of a data expert in a variety of different fields. Now, if you're looking for a leadership and collaboration opportunity here at the NSDC, I would highly recommend joining the NSDC chapter system. So the chapter system is a community of support, again, for learners of all ages that provides learning resources, mentorship, and career opportunities that we find to support each data science journey. There are currently 61 chapters spanning the US, India, and Bangladesh. Chapters participate in a variety of activities, including data science projects, hackathons, career panels, and even outreach efforts to their surrounding communities and local school districts. Each chapter gets a designated web page on our website as well to promote upcoming events or projects. And these chapters are typically led by students with a faculty member's oversight, giving the students real leadership and management experience before they graduate. Though I will say that being currently affiliated with an institution is not a requirement for this program. Everyone's welcome to join. We have some community-based chapters as well. Some of our chapter members actually thank their participation in the chapter system for helping them land internships and jobs due to the great professional development opportunities that they have derived from this program. So, of course, feel free to explore this supportive community. We now have over 5,000 active students, researchers, professors, and professionals, all coming together and collaborating with one another. So it's a great community to be a part of. And the last thing that I'll review before passing the virtual mic back over to Florence is the Student Portfolio and Network Building Group, or PNB group. So the PNB program offers 5 cyclical sessions each year, where we offer peer networking, we build data science portfolios, we learn about workplace communications, professional communications, we discuss leadership styles, we practice interview questions, and more. So this is a student-focused community. And what's great about it is that we have packaged all of our previous meeting materials into toolkits that students, educators, or professionals can use to host their own PNB sessions. So for example, if you want to host a peer networking session for your class at the start of a semester, you can download an entire script, presentation slides, and activities all pre-made for you from the website. If you would like to host a team leadership session for you and your team, you can download those materials for your use. We also host a LinkedIn group, so feel free, you can use the QR code on the screen to gain access to mentorship, job postings that we come across, or funding opportunities that we come across, we repost in that group, and a peer network of over 3,000 active members. So I know I went over a great deal of information, but believe it or not, it does not stop there. We have other fantastic resources to share with you today, including some very cool machine learning tools that you can leverage. And again, as Florence mentioned before, everything that I've gone over is free, open, online, 24/7. So with that, I will pass it over to Florence to share more information with you all about some of our other tools and programs.
Thank you so much, Emily. You know, when Emily presents this, people say, how many people are on your team? And we're like, you're looking at us. You know, it's me and Emily. We've had people who've helped us in the past, like Lauren Close, who works for the Center for Teaching and Learning at Columbia, and Katie Naum, who actually works in the Midwest now. So a lot of people have helped us get this started. And we also have part-time students that we hire they have to be Columbia University students so that we can fund them through the Columbia University grants we have from the different agencies. And so we're very fortunate because we have their input on all of this. So as Emily was mentioning, we like to make sure the content is ingestible and digestible. They help us with that because they are students. And as you may have noticed that it was a student who was presenting the flashcard that Emily showed a little bit while she was presenting. That was one of our students. So we're very fortunate to have them help us listen and learn as to what the students want and what helps make this more ingestible and digestible for them. So the next project we wanted to share with you is the COVID Information Commons. This is a project that started in 2020, in March of 2020, when COVID started growing precipitously. NSF, the National Science Foundation, contacted the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub and asked if we could work with the other regional big data innovation hubs to come up with a portal for people to be able to easily find NSF and government-funded COVID-related research, because we were hoping at the time that if we got everybody together, we could lick this thing quickly. As we know, it didn't really work that way. But the COVID Information Commons portal allowed us to provide an open resource to explore research addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, and more interestingly, a community of people. And we're actually working on publishing a book with Springer with 95 of the researchers that worked on this, to talk about research insights from the coronavirus and recommendations to mitigate future pandemics. So that's the joy of research, is that you get to look at the longitudinal value. So if you click through this a little bit, I think we'll get a little box around the top. So as I mentioned, this open resource. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the COVID research and PI, or Principal Investigator Database. The PI is the main researcher and the principal investigator on any of the research projects. So we'll show you about that. And then also we have this really cool machine learning maps tool. So it has an engine, a machine learning engine behind it, so you can see how AI is used in the tools that we provide. Next slide, please. So The benefits of an information commons portal and community is content and collaboration. People can easily find over 14,000 NSF and NIH COVID-related awards, metadata, which is data about data, and principal investigators. They can search by topic, project, people, institutions, the funder, the locality, what state they're in. We update this on an ongoing basis with APIs or application programming interface polls from NSF and NIH. And this allows you to find pertinent data sets and publications which can be used for AI simulations, research, teaching, and learning. We take advantage of this by building a community of people that engage with this. We have over 10,000 people in that community. We also hosted Research Lightning Talk webinars. We had over 145 of those, of the actual Research Lightning Talks, and those are available on YouTube. And then we also had working groups, topical working groups, student working groups, and make all of that information available online. The Research Lightning Talks are in our video library. They're also hosted by the Columbia University Libraries in the Columbia Academic Commons. So they have a DOI, a digital object identifier. So they're longitudinally available very broadly. And we've attracted tens of thousands of video views for all this content. And we hope that it helps mitigate future pandemics, as we mentioned. Next slide, please. So what that slide also said, I'll just mention quickly, is that as we engage the students, we like to provide hands-on opportunities, like Emily said. So we encourage them to use the COVID Information Commons, like the tools I'm going to show you now. And we also do an annual student paper challenge. And we just announced the winners of that. And it's really great. We have a graduate cohort and then an undergraduate and community college cohort. So you can see that this is a really cool tool that gives you like a kaleidoscope. I love pictures like this. This is the COVID Research Explorer Machine Learning Maps clustering tool. We call it ML Maps. And it's architected for machine learning-based clustering and visualizations of NSF and NIH funded COVID projects. And you can drill down on each one of these. It maps the research and researchers by topic, PI, institution, or state, and you can put in keywords that are of interest to you to find this content. So as you could see here, I put in, I believe, SARS-CoV-2. I'm looking on my little tiny screen on my phone this big to kind of, as compared to the 20,000, awards, so you can see a smaller number. And if you click, Emily, I think you'll see that, to see how this really works, let's zone in on, one of the key areas. So I'm looking at this area. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Immune response, patients, very interesting. So when I click in there, I can actually see the institutions that received these research grants from NSF and NIH, the institutional name. But then let's say I think like, well, so who is it at Stanford? So click again, and you can actually go in and find the principal investigator or the researcher, and you'd be like, oh, Jan and I were postdocs together. I went to college with James, or oh, Michaela, look at what she's doing now. And so this creates the human interaction, because sometimes in a research environment, it's very research and science oriented, but we don't always help the humans work together. And so this enables the research collaboration and the researcher collaboration. And for students in our student paper challenges, they can find humans they can communicate with, to make it real. Next slide, please. So that was an example of how we leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning in the tools that we provide. So in education. Now what we want to do is overview another project we're grateful to be involved in that's funded by actually NSF, the National Institutes of Health, the National Institutes of Justice, NASA, NOAA, and the U.S. Geological Survey. And this is the Prototype Open Knowledge Network. So an open knowledge network is a publicly accessible system of interconnected data repositories and knowledge graphs. And if you were to double click on a knowledge graph, then that actually gives you a connected view of information or knowledge. And then when you connect the knowledge graphs together, you get an open knowledge network designed to support data-driven AI-powered solutions for societal and economic challenges. So of all of these nodes, when they start working together, we can facilitate integration, structuring, and analysis of information across various scientific and technological domains. And we're going to show you a couple of examples. This prototype Open Knowledge Network program was launched in 2023 across these different agencies, and there are over 16 projects, and it's growing. And hopefully when the government opens up, there'll be even more. All we can do is hope, because this really helps us leverage AI against data to look for patterns, anomalies, and new insights as we work across this to solve societal challenges. Next slide, please. So there are a few domain areas. So as we look to leverage data and AI, so one of the domain areas is technology and manufacturing. And the two main projects we have at this point is our Secure Chain, which is a knowledge graph construction for resilient, trustworthy, and secure software supply chains. If any of you are in computer science or software engineering, you think of SBOMs, a software bill of materials. How do you make sure it's safe? How do you make sure it's not compromised? How do you make sure the data is not hacked? And so that's what Secure Chain is about. And as you can see, when you go to the website, on the Proto-OKN website, you can look at that project's website, you can look at their data sheet, and then we also have masterclass videos that the principal investigators and their students have done. So you can see there's a project overview video and a technical video. Similarly, on the right is Sudoku, a supply and demand open knowledge network, which talks about supply chains. And so what they like to do is look at supply chains. Secure Chain is a supply chain as well. And then there are other areas. I think if you click again, some of them might come up. So there are some environmental and climate related ones and some justice related ones. And then they can look at using their content across these different domains to come up with new insights. In justice, we have Rural KG, a cross-domain knowledge graph to integrate health and justice for rural resilience. We have an integrated justice platform, a knowledge graph warehouse for neighborhood information, and Dream KG, dynamic, responsive, adaptive, and multifaceted knowledge graphs to address homelessness with explainable AI. So how amazing is that? So when we say you can use data and AI to address societal challenges, these are very real examples. Next slide, please, or next click. So we also have a bio and health area. So a couple of the projects we have, one is called BioBricks, which is an open knowledge graph, and we'll tell a little bit more about that in a minute. And then also Spoke, which is a scalable precision medicine open knowledge engine that's led out of the University of California, San Francisco. We call UCSF, by Sergio Baranzini, and it's really very cool. So if we go to the next slide, we'll learn a little bit more about that. So we also have master classes on these. Emily records all these. She's amazing and edits them using Canva. I still think it's magic, but we have all of these really cool things. And if you sign up for our newsletter, you can see the Hub newsletter. You can see it says monthly theme, bio and health. So what we're doing is communicating these master classes through our monthly newsletter so people can get this content and easily find it. We like it to be findable, ingestible, and digestible. So you can see here, BioBricks, it tells you a little bit, is a project which makes loading data from biological data sets and databases easy, very domain specific, and very valuable, leveraging artificial intelligence. And then the Spoke project, this is really wild, connects space biology and medicine to facilitate bidirectional translation of knowledge to maximize ongoing efforts to make humans a multiplanetary species. How amazing is that? So they actually provide really good information about what is it like in space, and actually some of the things we call social determinants of health, like, a lack of access to food or mobility. I mean, when you're stuck in a space station, there really isn't a lot going on. And so we actually are looking at how we can apply the knowledge we have on Earth and in space bidirectionally to help the humans. Next slide, please. So the next project we want to touch on is the TIPS project. And I see Bruce Hecht is here from IEEE, the Institute for Electrical and Electronic Engineers. This is in our responsible data science, including security, privacy, and ethics domain area. And TIPS is the new cybersecurity paradigm. If you're a security person, you may have heard of terms like CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is the next turn of the crank. This is for thinking about technologies that are inside humans, like implanted medical devices, or humans are inside technologies like autonomous vehicles, and really having to worry about keeping the humans and the data and the devices safe. And so this is an effort we started a number of years ago, and we announced this new standard with IEEE, and we actually invite people if they want to join it, to join us. We have a clinical Internet of Things tips effort. We're starting to bring it into the energy domain and smart grid. And so it's a very exciting area for the future. Next slide, please. So to give you a little input on how this all started, when I was at IBM, actually, I was in corporate strategy. I was there for many years, and ARM contacted us. They're a company that makes the intellectual property for the design of chips. And they said, we really should think about end-to-end trust and security together, because IBM does servers and cloud and all sorts of things. So we started developing this idea, and then we just kept it going. We actually launched an effort in the working group in 2019. We did some work before that. We had over 300 people from 33 countries and 6 continents. This is all open and free as well, participating in these things. And we brought in Underwriters Laboratories, announced the standard in 2024. We won the IEEE Emerging Technology Award. You can see the pictures on the right there. And now we have a task group to apply this new security and privacy standard to other domains. If you're interested in knowing more about it, students and professionals and professors and researchers are invited. You can go to that website, nebdhub.org/tips, and learn more. Next slide, please. And here are some publications to learn more about this TIP standard. We think it's going to be across all what we call cyber-physical systems, which means that they connect virtually or through electronics, and they have physical things that you touch. And these books actually from Springer are available to download for free if your educational institution has a Springer link. And so you might be able to download the ebooks. Next slide, please. So now what I'd like to do is to pass this over to our colleague, Forough Ghahramani. Forough, as I mentioned, is on the steering committee for the Northeast Big Data Hub. She's a great friend of the Hub. She was a founding member of the National Student Data Corps, and Springer Nature invited us to actually write a blog on leveraging and managing AI in education. And so Forough is going to take us through some of this content now. Forough?
Thank you, and it's really a pleasure to be here. I will be providing information about the insights that Florence and I have shared in the Springer Nature publication with topics ranging from the big picture landscape of AI in education, including key strengths and risks, as well as ways that AI can be used to enhance, encourage learning rather than giving students a way around it. And then how has AI impacted students' attitudes towards education from K to 12 to higher ed? Next slide, please. So AI brings incredible potential to education, customizing learning paths, speeding up feedback, and increasing education. But there is risk in both AI technology itself, as well as how it's being used in the educational landscape. Openly available AI-enabled systems, from large language models such as ChatGPT to everyday devices using AI to make suggestions that may be incorrect. AI has the risk of providing incorrect information, so students and teachers may be learning things incorrectly, which could potentially proliferate to others they speak with or teach. While the technology by itself may be flawed, the risks can be managed with good design, robust testing, and responsible development and ongoing management. So human oversight is not just important, but it's essential. AI tools like Otter.ai and Kamigo are helping students absorb information more effectively. They can revisit lecture content, generate practice questions, and get on-demand help, all of which can be tailored to their progress. But these tools must be used to complement and not replace deeper thinking, collaboration, and human connection in learning. Next slide, please. So AI and student attitudes towards education is really an important area of topic of discussion and study. Students across K-12 and higher ed are having varied reactions to AI's presence in their learning environments. Some students feel empowered. They can study faster, ask smarter questions, and explore complex ideas with greater independence. On the other hand, some begin to question the value of traditional assignments or lectures when AI tools can generate instant answers. As educators, the role becomes reframing AI not as a shortcut, but as a learning partner, something that enhances the creativity, critical thinking, and curiosity of the learner. When students engage with AI as a collaborator, they tend to be remain more motivated and excited about learning. Enabling AI to be available and valuable for all is another really important aspect that we need to consider. If we don't plan carefully from the very start, AI can deepen the existing divide. We need to create tools that function across a variety of infrastructures and train educators at all types of institutions. Just as importantly, we need to include the community voices, the students, the teachers, the families, in shaping how AI is being used in schools. Next slide, please. And a glimpse on the vision for impact of AI on education. In the near term, we'll probably see AI fully integrated into course delivery as we are already and assessment. And in another decade, educators and AI will co-teach, blending immersive experiences with real-time adaptation. 20 years from now, lifelong learning will be fluid and AI will be embedded into our tools and our environments. But none of this will succeed without a strong framework designed with privacy and human dignity at the center. And I'd like to leave you with a personal quote that was inspired by participation in the Springer Nature publication. The future of education isn't just about adopting new technologies. It's about ensuring that every student everywhere can learn and create and thrive with them. And so we'd like to open it up to question and answers right now.
Thank you so much, Forough and Emily. So here's our info. You can connect with any of us on LinkedIn. That's probably the fastest way to get to us because we get the messages quickly. And now we'd be happy to open it up for Q&A, Musa, if that works for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for the very nice presentations and the resources you're sharing. Really, really in connection with trying to do here. Our project, we're trying to build this capacity around AI and to share resources with faculty. Many of the attendees in this session are faculty members who are being involved in this Expand AI project. That's why thank you so much for sharing and opening our eyes on the available resources. And we'll share these resources also with other faculty who are not present. Thank you for all of you. I have, maybe I don't know if anybody has any quick question because I have a question in mind. Any question? You can, if maybe your mic is not working, you can type your question or you can, I'll monitor. The quick question until maybe somebody is, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
The fact is, I'm from a technical side of AI, and many people are not from this side. And this is the AI in many cases is a scary word to many people. Okay, how do I use it? How do I manage to use it? It's coming to my field and it's affecting my field. And many people are scared, actually, and many in every aspect. Yesterday, I was listening to like one of those CEOs, and he's saying, I have 15 people. Most likely I will fire them. I will just keep only one, just because most of the tasks will be done. Now, with this kind of environment, people lack of understanding, misunderstanding, and at the same time, the being scared. How do we bridge the gap between the technical aspect of it and the applied side of it, while we can navigate this together? As any technology we know, it has its own restrictions, its own challenges. And when the calculator came out, everybody was scared. Okay, we're not gonna be able to think anymore because the calculator will solve all problems. The calculator came to augment our education to help us. I don't know, from your perspective as leaders in this data hub, what do you think?
Emily, would you like to start the discussion?
Sure. Personally, I think that bridging the gap between the technical side of AI and the usage of AI actually has less to do about the actual AI itself and far more about communication. I think that was something that we were starting to see here at the hub. I would say maybe 2 years ago, we were hearing so much more from industry players that students, right? We work with a lot of higher ed students, need to be able to communicate what they are doing to a variety of different audiences. I think that AI is a very, very broad term, and we're seeing it everywhere, and everyone might have a different definition of it themselves. And that's why the communication of it is so important. And that's another reason why, when Florence and I mentioned before, we're always wiggling ethics into our coursework, because that gives some of that outside communication that is less so about AI specifically, but more so about what you are doing with what data and who it's affecting and why. Teaching students to, or everyone, any user, to ask the right questions before just jumping into a tool, I think is massively important. And it's also interesting because I've seen a lot of more positions popping up where they're being referred to as like AI evangelists, and their sole position is to communicate what AI tools do to users, or how it could help or support their day-to-day roles. So I think that we'll be seeing a lot more of that as well, because you have the software engineers, you have the technical teams behind the scenes, and then you have the users who are kind of getting, ChatGPT sent to them in a link, and they want to jump in and use it without asking a single question first. So that's kind of what our role is here at the hub, is to and even Forough mentioned that critical thinking aspect. Think for yourself first, communicate that information first. The data science ethics behind it, I think, is extremely valuable in that part of the conversation. But Florence and Forough, please feel free to add.
Sure. Thank you, Emily. I always love hearing your perspective. So very valuable. Today I'm actually speaking at AI Med, which is an artificial intelligence conference for medicine. And so we had a panel this morning with chief AI officers in hospitals and, different places like that. And we were talking about how AI is a team sport, that you have to understand what you're trying to do with it. What are the challenges you're trying to address and how it can help you? So that's why a lot of the content that we have that Emily was talking about, we have basic AI content and data science, like what is this, or, what's machine learning, or what are different things. But when you look at the panels and say, so how do you use AI in health, and what does it help you do? Or how do you use it in marketing? Really? What are you doing with it in marketing? And so being able to communicate the value it can bring is really the right place to start, I would say. So even have students think about, how do you think AI could help you? If you're thinking of different jobs you'd like someday, how do you think AI could help with that? So have people think about how it affects their lives and the jobs they're in, I think, is a very valuable way to start. And you don't always have to know exactly what's going on in the background. Like the geeks like us, right, Musa, we'll worry about that. Worry about making sure that it's working the right way. But for the people that don't need to know how it works, how they say, when I ask you what time it is, I don't want to know how you built the watch, but we worry about how we build the watch. Not everybody has to worry about that, though. So I would say to to have people engage where they would like to engage and how they can leverage or make AI work better. Fru, do you have any comments?
I do, and I'm going to bridge it with the question in the chat as well. Is I think to really have sometimes within the educational environment to require that AI be used for some assignments, and then also to have requirements that they don't use AI, and that creativity, the critical thinking, the problem solving, those are the foundations. And teaching those types of skills and exposing the students to environments where they're actually leveraging those skills will help them to develop skills to be able to decipher between, responsible use and if it doesn't make sense to be using it. I think the question in the chat was, how can I guide them? I also think, and it overlaps with what Emily and Florence already discussed, is taking away some of that fear of what the negative consequences and the risks of AI by providing positive examples of how AI has enabled the different technological breakthroughs and also just leveraging it in the everyday use.
Yeah, and I would say on that, those are really good points in that, as Farouk said, and we've heard, teachers say this at like the CUNY, the City University of New York. We were all involved in a session they did last year on leveraging it. And one of the professors said, I have them use AI on things and I teach them how it can benefit that, but then there are things that they shouldn't do. So one of the things to consider, and this will help you see like how mature the students are in their thinking and their innovation, and their ability to kind of lead into the future rather than just rely on something else that can do it for them, is, it could be that I know I met this marketing guy one day and he was like, oh, I love using it because sometimes they ask me to write something. I have no clue what they're talking about. So I'll go into Chat GPT and say, like, what is this? And it'll give them some ideas to get started. But then he creates the new innovative focus. He creates the new innovative perspective. And so it's really how you can use it as a tool to accelerate and enhance what you do. So you'll be able to tell, there are the students that just like, 2 + 2 is 4. And then another student is like, I was thinking about this. And like, when I look at, 8 - 2, it's 6. It's, 6 is 25% smaller than 8, but 8 is 33% larger than 6. Why is that? So they think more, and you're helping them be leaders in the future. So I would encourage them to use it as a tool to give them a base and then to think farther.
Thank you so much. Actually, you're sharing very nice 3 strategies, like about communication, dealing with AI as a black box, and that everybody need to understand everything inside. This can be also one way to remove that as being scared. And the other aspect is really like the idea about requiring to be used into curriculum, because like maybe if we ask faculty members to, integrate one of the assignments to require AI so they can understand what AI is and how it can be utilized. These are very nice strategies, and thank you so much for sharing them. Any other questions?
I'd like to make one point on that. Thank you, Musa. You also can help them see how AI is wrong sometimes. That's very important because I often say to people, sometimes using AI is like cheating off the kid next to you and not realizing he's dumber than you are, right? So they might come out with the wrong, it's true, it makes stuff up. And so if you have them use it as a tool and like it says, oh yeah, and then, when George Washington was president in 1935, people would be like, what was he? And so to learn to question it that you are the final arbiter. Like here, where we're talking about AI for medicine, we're talking about doctors. We're talking about keeping people alive. We're talking about recommendations and decisions. And one of the things that we've been talking about at Columbia, we have a group working on AI health policy and ethics, is AI can make recommendations, but the doctor makes the decision. Right. I always say when I'm looking for something, I keep my mouth open and my ears open. I say, oh, does anybody know anything about this? But then I sift through it. I sift like, like a gold rush. I never looked for gold, but that's what they said they did, right? So you sift looking for the gold and you let the bad stuff go away. And to teach them that so that they have that little thought of, I say my favorite acronym now is ABS, always be suspicious. It's like, I don't know, is that really right? And so to really question it and not just take it as, oh, the computer told me, so it must be right. No, 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 not necessarily.
Thank you so much. Is there any question from the audience? Maybe because I have one question, the burning question in my mind. Can you please, Emily, go slide 30? Because the slide by Forough, it was, to me, as interesting as educator. Because by the end of the day, you are building an AI initiative. We're part of an AI initiative for Chicago State. And you are putting in I even took a picture of it with my phone because of the fact you're talking about this vision for impact of AI and learning, because we are really, really, I believe that we are going to be impacted dramatically. Nowadays, still, we are not realizing it. We are caught by surprise, but over the next 5, 10, 20 years, as you put this vision together, what if this becomes, we get to this faster than you think, which is I'm expecting we're going to get there faster than we think. What if the 20 years become 5 years?
Forough, do you want to answer that since you presented this slide?
Yeah, yeah. What if it becomes 5 years?
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, I think a lot can happen between now and 5 years from now. And education is being transformed. And so as we speak, it's being transformed. And there's a lot of different things in play that are happening. So if I am not sure if you're wondering, well, what's going to happen in 10 years? If it happened in all of this
Yes.
happened in 5 years, 10 years, oh, I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, okay, I'll go for it. So thank you though, Forough. And Musa, that's a very good question. So I agree with you. This all could happen in a year. But a couple of things that are important here for the 20 years, the human first design, that maybe hasn't been done yet. And that's really a journey. So I would love it if we really had that and we thought about the humans making this, ingestible and digestible, making it safe for them to use. That's one of the big concerns I have. It's like handing a knife to a kid and saying, "Oh, we're going to use it to cut steak," and then he hurts somebody with it, right? So that's kind of how I see AI. If it's used incorrectly, it really can hurt people and institutions and humanity. So I would say it would be great if we got there sooner. I think it's going to be an ongoing journey. So, AI has been around for decades. I worked on machine learning, deep QA, all of AI at IBM like 30 years ago, and 40 years ago. We've had it for a very long time, but now I see it continuing to evolve. I think there will be new tools. There could be new integration across different domains, like, environmental data with, genomic data and health data, leveraging artificial intelligence to provide faster and better care. So I think we're going to keep seeing it evolve. From the education perspective, years ago I said someday we're going to have holograms. It'd be a lot of fun. You have to go to school to see the hologram. Why do people have to go to a physical location? Well, because that's where the hologram, machines are, or something like that. So I think this will continue to evolve. This is kind of a baseline view with today's technology. I think there will be new technologies coming out that get more integrated into this whole world, and it'll evolve in new and interesting ways, things that we don't even know yet.
And I think throughout the transformation, the human educators will remain essential. And the role may be changing in guiding values, fostering the community aspect, and ensuring that learning remains deeply human versus just algorithmic.
Yeah, because our teachers, they guide us, right? They coach us. They help us learn. They help us learn how to think. I think that's one of the most valuable things that education does. It's not just learning content, it's learning how to think. And I think that's what's done in higher ed. And so that's what we'll be doing with AI.
That's thank you so much for this insight. I really appreciate it. Maybe can conclude it. We all of us as educators, we need to be kind of futuristic and keeping our eye on how we can adjust our educational tools in a way that can serve the students. Many of our students are very worried these days, many of them. And actually, I get questions, what you're teaching me today, what's going to happen in 3 years? Am I going to be able to find a job? Because I am not ready with AI, but at the same time, I will be faced with job opportunities that require AI. That's why I'm not able to do it. Gerard, do you have a question? I'm sorry, I did not see you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. So I'll put my question in the chat and then I'll ask it. First, I want to say I'm really enjoying the AI workshops at Chicago State. And I appreciate all of you being on this webinar today. I mean, for you to take out your time to do this webinar is fantastic. So the focus has been on, and what I mean by focus is in a macro sense that the world's looking at when it comes to AI. The focus has been on LLMs, right? And they're quite effective for most purposes, right? The large language models. Will we see the proliferation of SLM, small language models, or to assist in more micro and micro tasking and micro research? So, as all of you formulate an answer, so like if I wanted to
I have one.
create a pre-trained transformer that was an SLM with Dr. Ayash and my students to make an SLM on my research area. Is that something that's can be done? And is that something that we're looking for in the near future?
Yeah, so I'd be happy to answer that from my perspective. So small language models, I think, are the safer way to deploy large language model technology. You know, even here at AI Med, people are talking about, oh, can I put all my content into the LLM? I'm like, oh my God, you're giving it all away. It's just not a good, it's what I know. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, so you need to be standing in front of the class doing exactly that. No, 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 no. So whatever you put into an LLM that other people have access to, they get access to all your content. So you have to be very careful. They could misappropriate it, they could misuse it, they could steal your intellectual property. There's so many things that could happen. So small language models are a safer way to deploy LLM technology. So you put your content in there, the content that you want people to be using. Then it's on you actually to make sure from an ethical perspective, you're including all the content that should be in there, and if it's Dr. Ayasha's work and your work, make sure it's comprehensive, right? And so that it's well represented. I think Arvind Krishna, who's the CEO of IBM now, I think he talks about SLMs, about the way for things to go. And I kind of look at an SLM as like a VPN LLM, I call it, like, when you use the internet, right? Like a virtual private network is your own little personal thing, right? So we're on the internet, you can find all sorts of stuff. Some you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't seen that, right? Same thing but when you have a VPN, that's constructed so that people in your institution can see it. And this is the content you want them to see and other people can't see it. So that's what I think about as a small language model can be like a virtual private network large language model. So I think it's a very valuable way to look at it. And by teaming up, we were talking about this, AI is a team sport. We were saying to each other yesterday, because you have different domains, you have different expertise. You might have expertise on the content, and then someone else has expertise on a transformer model. Someone else has expertise on generative AI. And so when you work together, you can figure out how to apply this new technology in ways that are really appropriate and very useful. So I think that's a great idea. I'd go for it. How fun is that?
And I think educational institutions are leveraging it overall, and then even in classrooms, faculty are using it as their student tutors for tutoring their students.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like this kind of private, I'm not gonna add anything because you covered very nicely, Florence and Forough. Like this kind of private LLM is becoming really the norm, and actually even big companies are going after it. And if you were watching the news, like Nvidia, they announced their own device, what was around $4,000, but when the minute they put it on the website, it was sold right away. And basically, if you're going to try to find it, it's hard to find it because many people are looking for this way. Again, on behalf of Chicago State University and our center, we're really, really thankful for your time and the minutes you spent with us, and you share the resources you shared with us, all of you. And also, I'm thankful for the attendees for their presence. And I'm sure we'll be, with your permission, we'll be sharing this recording and the presentation with the attendees. And I'm sure they'll benefit a lot from it. And we're looking forward to meeting you all in the future.
Yes, and it's been a pleasure. And we'd be happy to put it on our YouTube as well if you'd like. So let us know when you have the recording available and Emily can get you hooked up.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
It was great meeting everybody. Thank you, Musa. We always appreciate your teamwork. Be well, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you so much.